Any question on this? Have I understood
No,
these
sir.
zones?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Severe temperature at the center. Gradually, the temperature go on decreasing with increase in distance. Okay. So you can see the different bands. Yellow band, dark red, light red, pink, and white or gray you can call. So these different zones are formed. Okay. Same thing here, heat affected zone, it is like this. From this part to this part, heat affected zone. You can explain with the previous diagram itself. So now let us see the temperature variation from center to the outside. How the temperature distribution you can see. Center zone, it is the temperature, it is 1110 degrees Fahrenheit, then 1000 degrees, then 840 degrees, 790 degrees, then brown 735 degrees, 700 degrees, and 640 degrees, 550 degrees centigrade, light yellow. This is with respect to this color we cannot see here clearly. So like that, or with respect to this diagram itself, this is the from here to this exterior, how the temperature distribution you can see. Okay, center temperature is very high. If you move towards the outer, the temperature is less. Because the HAZ experiences sufficient amount of heat for a long enough period of time, the layer undergoes microstructure and property changes that differ from the parent metal. Parent metal structure is different, and this weld metal structure and heat affected zone metal structure will be different. Because why means the reason is the heating and cooling, severe amount of heating. Okay, because of that it is happening. These property changes are usually undesirable and ultimately serve as the weakest part of the component. Actually, we are doing the welding for strong joint, to get the strong joint. But if proper welding is not done properly, this strength is not restored, then what happens? This will become the weakest part of the component. Weld itself becomes the weakest part of the component if it is not properly taken care. Okay, how to take care, that we will discuss it later. The microstructural changes can lead to residual stress. Once we had discussed already what is the meaning of residual stress. Residual stress, it is the remaining stress within the material even after welding. Welding process is completed, but some amount of stress it is remaining within the metal structure. This reduces the strength of the material. So therefore we have to remove or relieve this residual stress. How to relieve, we will discuss it. Okay, reduced material strength, increased brittleness, and decreased resistance to corrosion. So these are all the effects of HAZ, heat affected zone. Just you will be asked in the examination, explain what is the effect of HAZ. Show with the help of diagram, explain with the diagram. So then you have to draw neat diagram of HAZ with the different bands and explain all these things. Okay. The heat affected zone can be reduced. How to reduce the heat affected zone? Okay. Heat affected zone can be reduced by controlling a few parameters described below, that is thermal diffusivity, heat input, welding speed. See, very important parameters like this. How it can be effectively controlled, the heat affected zone. It will be there, but it has to be reduced. How to reduce that means thermal diffusivity, heat input, welding speed, and effect of carbon content on structure and properties of steel. This is also one point. Okay. See here, how to control what is the meaning of thermal diffusivity? That we have to understand. What is thermal diffusivity? What is thermal diffusivity? Diffusion means spreading. Diffusion, spreading of the temperature, heat. So that heat spread on the base metal we have to control. It should not unnecessarily spread all the part of the metal. It should spread only to the required part of the welding or metal structure. It should not spread more area. If more area is spread, then it is going, all that area, it is going to be affected. Therefore, where the welding is to be done, only that part should become heated. Surrounding, it should not be exposed to welding action or the flaming action. So that is the thermal diffusivity control. Heat input, that is amount of energy input. For welding a small thickness, unnecessary extra amount of current supply. Just 50 amps is required to weld a 4 millimeter thickness material. You are giving 100 amps current. Input given is 100 amps. So it is unnecessary amount of current given, so the excess amount of heat is developed, that is going to spoil the workpiece. Okay. Then welding speed. Speed of welding is also important. Sometimes what we do, improper speed we are following. So if the high speed is followed, welding speed is very high, severely high, then what happens? Proper welding is not deposited. Proper weld metal is not, thickness of the weld metal is not sufficiently deposited. If it is going slow, then over deposition takes place. If it is going slowly, welding, over deposition. If it is too fast, then it is incomplete or insufficient deposition of the material. So therefore all these things are the effects which are going to produce. So therefore heat affected zone, we have to take care such that by using these three parameters effectively we can control the heat affected zone. See, same thing here it is explained. That is the presentation I explained. With the help of simple diagram you can see here. This is the weldment. This is also called as a weldment. Okay. Different zones in welding. Here this is the base fusion zone. In the welding structure, this is the fusion zone where the metal melts and then solidifies. That is the fusion zone. Surrounding this is the heat affected zone, and this is the base metal, and this is the direction of weld. Okay. So all these things I explain now. Zone 1, fusion zone. Fusion zone is the weld metal itself. Weld metal itself. More specifically, it is the region where the molten metal of the filler metal rod combines with the molten metal of the workpiece to form the weld. Filler metal rod, that is welding electrode what we are using, or the filler metal, additional filler material, that is going to be melted and then it is added along with the base metal. So that joint is, that metal is called as the, that zone is called as the fusion zone. Okay. Next, zone 2, heat affected zone. Heat affected zone, that is the zone 2. What is there here? The fusion zone is surrounded by heat affected zone. The portion that is not melted, this portion is not melted but subjected to elevated temperatures, severe amount of temperature it is subjected. So therefore already in the previous diagram I have shown that heat affected zone. Then zone 3 is what? Base metal zone. Base metal zone means the remaining part of the zone which is not affected by the heat. So therefore that is the base metal zone. Here it is the portion around the heat affected zone which remains unaffected as it was not heated sufficiently to change the microstructure. So this all the metallurgical structure, metallurgical properties change, microstructural change which is happening with the material during welding. Okay. Now you can see the structure of welds. This is about the HAZ. Any question on this HAZ you can ask now. Any question on HAZ, heat affected zone? After that, we are going to study about the weld structure. Questions on this HAZ? Basic of heat affected zone.
No, sir, nothing, sir. Understood.
Okay. Next, let's go to the structure of weld. See, this is the cross section we have taken from a weld material, and from the center of the weld structure you can see equiaxed grains. Equiaxed grains, nothing but almost spherical. The grains, more or less, they are spherical. That is why they are called as equiaxed grains. Next, after the center line, that is grain, next region, next zone is the columnar grains. Columnar grain. The grains are not equiaxed, not spherical. They are in columnar. Columnar nothing but vertical or horizontal columns type. More length. Length will be more. Okay, that is the columnar grains. So column type, vertical or horizontal columns type. Okay, they are called as columnar grains. And subsequent to that, after that, surrounding columnar grain, you can see the coarse grains. Coarse grain means bigger grain size. They are almost similar to the equiaxed grains, but they are coarse grains. Coarse means bigger grains, larger grains. Surrounding the coarser grains, after that, you can see the fine grains, small grains. Okay, it is not here. Small grain outer. If you come outside, the coarse grain is small grain. And after that, it is the base material or workpiece which is unaffected. See, like this, different grain structures you can see in the heat affected zone. So, how exactly it takes place means it is explained in this diagram. And here, structure of welds. During welding, a small portion of the edge of the workpiece will be melted, followed by immediate and fast cooling of molten metal. This all of you know. When it is heated immediately, heating also immediate, instantly, and cooling also. As soon as the welding electrode moves further, so then what happens? The cooling starts immediately, and then rapid cooling takes place. Fast heating, fast cooling. That is why the material is going to be affected. Okay. Hence, the microstructure development in this region depends on the solidification behavior of the molten metal. How the solidification takes place from liquid to solid, depending upon that, the structure is obtained. Good structure obtained means good properties, better properties we will be obtaining. If the structure is hard and brittle, then the grains are not in the required shape, then we will get the undesirable properties of the materials. You can see solidification process is similar to in casting process. Already we have studied that in casting process how the solidification takes place. Homogeneous, heterogeneous solidification, nucleation takes place, and then further solidification continues. All those things we have studied in the previous classes in casting top chapter. Okay. So solidification is very similar to that, because here also liquid metal is cooling to solid metal. So therefore, concept of solidification remains same as in casting, and begins with the formation of columnar grains. What is the meaning of columnar grains? Already I told you, it is columnar nothing but it is not equiaxed grain, it is not spherical grain, columns type it will be there. Okay, like dendritic. Dendrite nothing but a tree. What is the meaning of dendrite? It is tree structure. How the tree contains one stem. That stem further it branches out. Those branches again sub branches. Those sub branches again branches. So like that, how the tree contains one stem, branches further, like that. Here also during solidification, it is the tree shape of structure is obtained, that is called as dendrite structure, which is the columnar structure. Okay, that type of grain is obtained. Okay, and surrounding that the coarse grains are formed, and surrounding that the finer grains are formed with the reduction in temperature. That only explained in this paragraph. Okay, heat affected zone. Welding makes use of intense heat melt edges because of the severe temperature used to develop here. So at that condition, the whatever heat or energy available here, it heats the neighboring material, neighboring metal structure here. So when these atoms of the metal are heated, or grains of the metals are heated, then they will grow bigger in size, larger in size. That is why it is called as coarse grains. Coarse nothing but larger grains. So larger grains are produced surrounding the liquid metal here. Okay, so surrounding the columnar grain, the larger grains will be produced. They are called as the coarse grain. Why means severe amount of heat is going to be affecting this area. Because of that, larger grains are produced. Next to this, finer grains, because the heat is less affected in this region. Less amount of heat is available in this next area. So therefore, smaller grains are produced. Beyond this, not affected. Okay, so all these things explained in this heat affected zone. Same thing it is written here in this paragraph. I'm not going to explain all those things. Okay, just now I explained these things. Any doubts on this heat affected zone and the structure of the metal, you can ask now with respect to this diagram and explanation. Now it is open to you. You can ask question if you have anything. No doubt? No questions?
No doubt, sir.
Then I will go ahead. How to control the heat affected zone? The heat affected zone can be reduced. Its effect can be reduced by controlling few parameters. What are those? What are the parameters which can be used to control the heat affected zone? They are like this. Already I explained about this: thermal diffusivity, heat input, weld speed. By controlling this, heat affected zone can be reduced. It cannot be completely eliminated. It can be reduced. So therefore, what is thermal diffusivity? Already mentioned that diffusion, it is the spreading of heat. The thermal diffusivity of base metal plays large role. If the diffusivity is high, the material cooling rate will be high. Hence the heat affected zone will be relatively small. Okay. Low diffusivity leads to slower cooling and larger heat affected zone. Here, what is said here, thermal diffusivity, one is the diffusion of the heat, that is heat dissipation. Here it is talked about the heat dissipation. Okay. Base material thermal property. If the heat conductivity is good, then it will lose the heat very fast. Then the effect will be minimum. That is the meaning here explained. One more, that is spread of temperature, spread of heat can be minimized by controlling the spread of arc. I will give the example. If the electrode is lifted from the work material, actually we have to maintain a gap of 1.5 to 3 millimeter between the workpiece and the electrode. The gap should be 1.5 to 3 millimeter. If you increase it to 5 millimeter, then what happens? The arc will be spreading more. Then that times the heat affected zone will be more. It is unwanted. So that is also coming into picture. Okay. Next, heat input. Welding processes like oxyacetylene welding or oxy-fuel welding, electroslag welding, it is another type of welding, electroslag welding, etc. use high input energy, thereby decreasing the size of the heat affected zone. Whereas process like laser welding, electron beam welding, etc. give highly concentrated, limited amount of heat, resulting in smaller heat affected zone. This is one thing explained here, and also what is happening in arc welding, especially as I mentioned before, if unnecessary extra amount of current is supplied, then what happens? Unnecessary heating will be taking place. So that has to be controlled. So required amount of current only we need to supply, required speed only we have to maintain. So then only proper welding can be done and heat affected zone can be reduced. So these are some of the parameters where we can actually control the heat affected zone. What happens if the heat affected zone is not controlled? Because that time the material property is going to be deteriorated or diminished. If the material property is not up to the extent of what the base material has got, then obviously that material fails early failure. Okay, so therefore in order to avoid early failure, we have to remove the residual stress or the remaining stress within the material that has to be removed. How to remove that? We will discuss it further. Okay. Then effect of carbon content on structure and properties of steel. How? What effect of carbon content on structure and properties of steel? Obviously, you have studied in material science how exactly especially in this case of steel, carbon derives the property of steel. Carbon is the main ingredient or alloying element which control the steel property. Therefore, steels are classified as plain carbon steel and alloy steels. Plain carbon steel means the steel which contain only carbon and iron. That is called as the plain carbon. And small traces of other elements will be there. They are negligible amount. Main ingredients are iron and carbon. If the carbon content is less, 0.03 to 0.3%, 0.03 to 0.3% carbon, then it is called as mild steel. If the carbon content is 0.3 to 0.8%, it is called medium carbon steel. After that, it is called high carbon steel. Up to 1.5%, it is called high carbon steel. So like that, depending upon the carbon, the steels are graded as low carbon steel, medium carbon steel and high carbon steel. Low carbon steels are softer, medium carbon steels are higher strength, higher hardness, high carbon steels are still high hardness. So therefore, based on that, effect of carbon content on structure and properties of steel. How exactly the steel is depending upon, steel properties are depending upon the carbon. Steel is most widely used material in welding compared to other materials. Steel may be defined as this pig iron or etc., cast iron. So these are the other elements which are present, sulfur, manganese, phosphorus, etc. They are in the smallest amounts. Okay. Of all the constituent, carbon is the most very important ingredient in steel. Okay. So it affects the welding. That is the major problem, which is major advantage, major problem, everything is there. So this about the influence or effect of carbon content on the structure and properties of steel. So entire structure, steel structure, it is depending upon the carbon. High strength carbon, low strength carbon. Whether it is heat treatable, carbon is the responsibility. Non-heat treatable, it is carbon. Okay. So mild steel normally 0.3% carbon, 0.2% carbon. Then that type of steel cannot be heat treated. So it is not going to improve any properties. 0.2% carbon steel. If it is 0.4%, 0.5% carbon, yes, it can be heat treated. It will impart very better properties after heat treatment. Like that, so higher the carbon, are different. The heat can be heat treated. Lower carbon cannot be heat treated. So those are the important effects of carbon in steel. Okay.